Hey everybody, Joy Bowen here. I thought I would tune in and just share with you. I don't know why, but I felt like God was saying, hey, there's someone who needs to hear your story, and so I want you to reach out and just share it. And so here I am. I'm here live, and if you've been following my journey for a while, you might be wondering, what is this girl doing? Why does she post all this stuff? And I wanted to tell you, hey Toby, a little bit about the bombshell moment that really convinced me to start caring about my health, and what has led to me, what has also led to me to care about yours. And so a lot of people don't realize this, but our family has gone through back to back medical whammies, moments of crisis, if you will. And so I've always been one of those girls where I would say the term skinny fat pretty much applied. I ate fast food at least 2 to 3 times a week. I was addicted to 5-hour energy. I am a recovering managing workaholic. And so, I was able to lose the baby fat after having my kids, but once I started working again, even though it was only a part-time gig, I submarined myself into work and went over and above, needed expectations in order to kind of find fulfillment through working hard. And after years of that, I wound up just feeling completely exhausted and actually just kind of directionless. I kept waiting for someone to recognize all this hard work and promote me, and that never happened. And so I always felt like it wasn't good enough, or I wasn't good enough. And so that just led me to work even harder and neglect my health even more and cause stress and depression and all sorts of really horrible things. Well, my family started to kind of have these defining moments that really rocked our world. My youngest was diagnosed with a papilledema, which is a swollen optic nerve. And he was in elementary school at the time, and doctors don't like to see swollen optic nerves because typically that can be an indicator of brain tumor. And so for the next year, we did spinal taps and medication and numerous specialists, and just trying to figure out what the heck was going on, or if there was anything that we needed to be super concerned about. And so thankfully there was no brain tumor, and they could never discern what was causing it. And so, he's still in a wait and watch scenario, but you can imagine, my mama bear heart just worried to death about my kid. And a year later, my husband, who had been training for American karate for his black belt, he was testing for his black belt. And he had a severe atrial flutter episode. So this is not a heart attack situation. It is a short circuit in the heart. It's like a miles on the tires type thing. Could have happened anywhere, but thankfully he was in the care of people who loved him. And anyway, we were care flighted from one hospital to another. I was greeted by a chaplain. My friends were talking about how are we going to take care of Joy when Andrew dies. And it was a very, 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 very critical moment for him. He spent 3 days in a medically induced coma, and then they finally figured out what was wrong with him, and he did a surgical procedure. And so now he's really in the best shape of his life right now. So happy ending there. A year later, though, almost to the date, because I remember we settled our care flight insurance debacle because insurance would not pay for the care flight. So I remember we had to get a lawyer and all that nightmare. And I remember the claim being settled the day that I went in to my specialist, because I had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And it thankfully was caught super early. I'm a huge advocate for early detection and mammograms. It was very close to my chest wall. And so we were super aggressive with the diagnosis. And so I did a bilateral mastectomy. I did reconstruction surgery. And on the heels of that, my oldest son, who was actually with me when I received the diagnosis, he started to battle depression and anxiety. I mean, who wouldn't? His other 3 family members had just, had their worlds rocked in the course of 3 years. And so you know, having all of that happen in the course of like 3 years will like do a lot to you emotionally. And I remember I was at peace with like, you know, the treatment plan. I lived my doctors, but like I probably medically, or I probably self-medicated with food a little bit too much in the wake of, you know, that huge decision to have the bilateral mastectomy. And I remember like in the recovery process, I was put on restricted exercise. Not that I was really doing a whole lot of that anyway before being diagnosed. But it's funny, you know, like once you have something taken away from you, that's the only thing you want to do. And so, you know, here my doctors are telling me, you know, you could do yoga, and I wasn't really into yoga at the time. And, you know, so like I did walks around the block, but that was it. So like, you know, before breast cancer, I would do kickboxing a couple times a week, but like now I couldn't. And so now I was self-medicating with food and not being active. And I remember specifically standing in my closet, just feeling like really an alien in my own body, because things were different, you know, clothes didn't fit. And I remember you ever stood in your closet and you're just like, I hate everything. Like I hate all my clothes, nothing fits. And it was definitely one of those moments. And, you know, that combined with, you know, a decade of overworking myself to death and not feeling like I was recognized or seen, or really had like greater purpose, right, for what I was doing in life. Like I remember just having this kind of like midlife crisis. I mean, I was only 41, and yet I was standing in the middle of my closet, completely like feeling like, you know, frumpy and just not happy with the direction that I love my family, I loved all that part, but the direction of where my purpose and passion was going in life, I just felt empty, numb, you know, and I would try to find an open door of opportunity or, you know, like a next step so many times, and all those doors were closed to me, and I never knew why, but now I do. And so anyway, I stood in my closet just absolutely discouraged with this. And I remember having this thought where it was like, well, Joy, you have a choice. You can either accept, you know, the mom genes and, you know, slowly fade into your late 40s and 50s and 60s, you know, or you can fight. You can fight. You can fight for more strength in your life. You can fight, you know, God's not done with you yet kind of moment. And so I decided to fight. And so I, at that point, you know, was scrolling Facebook like we all do. And I saw my friend who posted this Rockin' Transformation. She was a part of this pilot program called PIO. And it was a strength and flexibility program that was no impact. It looked super honoring to, you know, my re-entry into exercising after major surgery. So I reached out to her and I asked for help, and I said, hey, like, I'm so tired of feeling sick and tired. Like, I want to find my mojo again. I want to feel, you know, beautiful. And that, you know, means something different to all of us, right? But for me, it meant feeling strong and, you know, loving my body again. And I really had to like reframe my mind on what loving my body represented, because, you know, going through major surgery like I had gone through, you know, it's very easy to like let yourself kind of go mentally into a ditch because you're just not the same, right? And so I had to like come to this point where like loving myself was a process of honoring myself. If I could make better choices, if I could move a little more, which would help reduce the risk of recurrence of breast cancer, then, you know, I felt like that was loving myself well. And I really did have to learn to love myself again. And so for the next 60 days, I went all in with this program. I dialed in my nutrition. I eliminated all the fast food. I think I had one cheat meal because we took a trip to California. And by the end of those 60 days, I couldn't believe how my body responded. I mean, I couldn't even do like a push-up on my knees when I started. I actually had to do wall push-ups because my chest muscles have been rearranged. But by the end of the 60 days, I was able to do tricep push-ups on my toes, which was like a huge accomplishment for me. And at the end of that 60 days, I was able to go into a clothing store, and for the first time in my life, I know, I'm a petite girl. You would think like, no way, I'm sure this is a lie. I'm telling you, I was a petite, I was what they call skinny fat. I was petite curvy. I had curves. And I used to think like skinny jeans were only meant for 20-year-olds. And I was able to go at that point, I was 42 years old. I was able to go into a store and try on a pair of skinny jeans, and they fit. They fit over my hips. I could not believe it. I could not believe that my body would respond like that. And so really, when I made that decision to go make some changes in my life, I knew that if it were just left up to me, if it was just me making these healthy lifestyle changes by myself and no one knew about them, I knew I would quit on myself. Because isn't that how it works? Like quitting on ourselves is the easiest part, right? But if there's someone else in the journey with you, if there's someone else that you're committed to, that mutual accountability factor, well then like our commitment to ourselves raises. We raise our standards for how we approach that, right? And so I shared on Facebook, hey, I'm going to be starting this new program. I'm pretty excited. I think that was like the sum total of it. Total God thing, because I had 3 women from church reach out to me and say, hey, we'd like to be a part of that strength building part of your journey, of your story. So like we want in. So I had friends who like jumped into this virtual boot camp with me where we checked in every day, where we helped each other with meal planning and prep, where we helped each other navigate through the setbacks. And my commitment level went up because it was like, I wasn't going to quit on them. I could have quit on me, but I wasn't going to quit on them. And so, we started this journey together. And that was the very beginning of me helping other women take their first steps too. And so now it has been like 3.5 years that I've been coaching women to take their first steps. And what we talk about all the time in our groups is that we are on a journey of becoming a woman who doesn't quit. We are simply taking next steps to become the person that we already are. And we are putting away this concept of health as a destination and embracing the fact that health is a journey. That we never fully arrive, that we always are fighting for strength. We always are pushing for another goal. We always are encouraging someone else to take their first step too. And so, 3.5 years. And now hundreds of women have had their lives impacted because of a ripple effect. Because I was ready to say yes to myself. And so, breast cancer will rock anyone's world. Hearing cancer alone, right? Any type of cancer will take the breath out of you. But we all have a choice about how we respond to life's obstacles. We all have a choice about how we love ourselves. And I want to encourage you not to have a bombshell like that, land in your lap before you realize that you're worth loving, that you're worth taking that next step and having greater strength in your life. And so this November, we are ramping up our next challenge. And it is going to be like laser focused on becoming a woman that doesn't quit. Where we are going to journey together through a Bible study, actually. And we are going to focus on the book of Ruth. And together we are going to change our minds, because we all know that where your mind goes, your body follows. And so we are going to change our minds about the grit and resilience needed to run the race, like the full race, not just a leg of it. And so I'm super excited about it because I've been doing this Bible study with a group of women, and it just totally speaks to my heart. So if you are ready to make some serious changes for your life, if you're ready to feel healthy and strong, if you're ready to walk into your closet and actually love the clothes again and not lament like, what the heck am I going to wear today? I want to invite you, for those who confirm their new enrollment, this is for new enrollees only. If you are a new enrollee into our challenge group by November 3rd, I will personally send you a copy of the Bible study that we are going to be focused on this November, called A Woman Who Doesn't Quit. And so, yeah, reach out. You can PM me on our page, or you can comment below. But, you know, what I have learned through the past 3.5 years is that a healthy, like, what do I want to say? I'm all rambly. Really, it takes only 5 seconds of courage to make a change in your life. You know, like, we overthink it so much. I don't know if you've read, like, the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins, but it's phenomenal and you totally should read it. But basically, like, we all overthink the changes that we need to make in our life. And if we just help ourselves have a bias toward action, you know, like, take lots of ridiculous action, we will get so much further down the road than if we just continue to sit, continue to think, because our brain wants us just to kind of like adopt the status quo. And so I'm so thankful that when I saw that post from my friend, I didn't hesitate. I just, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I reached out to her. And you can do that too. It's just 5 seconds of courage to reach out and say, hey, you know that thing you were talking about? I just want more information, because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired too. And if you can do it after breast cancer, then I can do it too. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll chat with you soon. Bye.